Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Jesse Torres. We're going to give everybody just a few seconds to log in before we officially start this session. So just give us 30 seconds. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and get going. I already see some really good friends there in the chat. My name is Jesse Torres. I'm the principal for Arroyo West LLC. We're a management consulting firm helping on an economic and workforce development, specializing in small business work. I'm really excited to be here with all of you today to discuss a crucial part of the small business community, which is seeking out and delivering on contracting opportunities. Before I go into some detail about today's session, I just have a few housekeeping announcements for all of us. If you could please stay muted just to avoid background noise, that'll be great. In the chat, you should see the chat box there. Please go ahead and put your name, your title, and your organization, just so we know who's here in the room and to help ease some of the networking opportunities that will come. And then finally, please feel free to utilize the chat to communicate with fellow attendees and to submit your questions during the audience Q&A. I did want to say just a special shout out to our sponsors today for this great summit, and kudos to the LA Chamber Small Business team for all their hard work and putting this all together. I know this is a big lift, but thank you to Wells Fargo. Thank you to the Safer Work team there at Labor Workforce Development Agency and Department of Industrial Relations. Thank you to Bank of America. Thank you to Kaiser Permanente, and thank you to Facebook for your generosity for today's summit. So the goal for today is to help all of us become more comfortable with the public and private contracting process and to explore various contracting tools and resources. We're going to be discussing the certification process as a whole, the execution deliverables, and provide some great tips to help make your business ready to expand through contracting opportunities. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our great moderator for today's session, a good friend of mine, Debbie Lumpkin, Chief of Staff to the Orange County Supervisor, Katrina Foley. Prior to becoming Chief of Staff to the Supervisor, Debbie was Deputy Inspector General for Diversity and Small Business Development in the Independent Office of Audits and Investigations for Caltrans. Longtime small business advocate, longtime just amazing person in contracting and procurement, and a great friend. So I'm going to turn it over to Debbie. Take it away.
Sorry, Debbie, you are on mute.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I was off mute. I'm sorry, but thank you, Jesse. I'm so happy to be with you guys today. I'm so excited to moderate today's panel. You know, I'm a big advocate for small, diverse, disadvantaged, and local businesses. So I love being here today with you to kind of moderate this session and find the contracting opportunities to help everyone. So I'd first like to start by introducing our panelists today. First, I'd like to introduce Olga Lopez, who is a senior representative at LA Metro and has dedicated her professional career to public service. She has worked in local government and the nation's leading nonprofit organization that facilitates the full participation of Latinos in the American political process, from citizenship to public service. Welcome, Olga. Our next panelist is Todd Gray, who is the Director of Supplier Development of Supplier Diversity, NFS, at Kaiser Permanente. And we will find out what NFS means later on today. But that's where he's responsible for the system-wide supplier diversity for National Facility Services, the nation's largest vertically integrated healthcare delivery system. Welcome, Todd. Our next panelist is Eric Castro. After first enlisting in the Army and earning a Purple Heart in Iraq, he is now the president of Icona Subsurface Engineering, KSE, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. KSE has performed over 100 construction projects for major public and private agencies. So thank you for all of our panelists today. And I welcome you all. And I think what we're going to do now is move into some presentations, and then we will kick off some Q&A. So get ready to tee up your questions and put them in the chat, and we will get to them as soon as we go through our panelist presentations.
Good morning. Should I go? Good morning, everyone. I'm Olga Mireya Lopez. I'm representing LA Metro, the public transportation agency. I am representing the Diversity and Economic Opportunity Department. We are a unit that is under the vendor contract management. We are responsible for all of Metro small businesses programs, including our Metro Connect. For those of you who are familiar with our process and our way of doing business, you would know when you receive Metro Connect that the information is coming from our unit. Our commitment is to the growth and success of small businesses. We aim to increase the opportunity for small businesses through various efforts and provide greater access and transparency around the agency's procurement process. So I'm very thankful to the LA Area Chamber for inviting us, Metro, to be a part of today's event. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Let me share that we always like to say, and we reiterate it everywhere we go with the message of us being your friends on the inside. We are the advocates for small business, and we serve as your system navigators in the event that you get lost. We have the responsibility of administering and overseeing the small business program initiatives, as I mentioned earlier. We publicize the contract opportunities, we provide trainings, resources, we set goals on our contracts for DBE, SBE, DBBE, certified firms, and we also monitor compliance. We are under the leadership of Deborah Avila, who is the Chief of Vendor Contract Management. And our executive officer within our unit is Miguel Cabral. And I am representing the DEOD outreach team. What I'd like to share for those of you who are joining us for the first time, if you haven't done business with Metro, I encourage you to visit our vendor portal. Learn about the vendor basics. That's at metro.net/connect. In the vendor portal, you're going to have an opportunity to access tools that are available for our small business, resources, learn about our events. We also have an online toolkit that we're very proud to have worked on the project. And there are some few edits that we have to incorporate. And that is being that we have our new CEO. As some of you are aware, we have Ms. Stephanie Wiggins. So that page needs to be edited, and we're on the queue with our internal IT to get it uploaded. You will learn about the certification process. At Metro, there's two types of certifications that we accept. It's the DBE and the SBE. And we also accept certifications that are with DBBE, the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise. We are not the agency that will award a DBE. This is something that you will get through the General Services Department, but we will accept that certification. We encourage you again to apply for your certification online if you haven't done so. Also, if you haven't registered as a Metro vendor, please, I encourage you to do that. It's very easy. It's a very easy process. It's a two-step process. You create your vendor profile and you input your NICS codes. Why is it important to have an SBE with Metro? Metro has its own SBE certification. There are agencies, there's other agencies that will award an SBE, but Metro has its own. This is a groundbreaking opportunity. We heard from our small business enterprises, and we learned that they felt like they were bidding on these projects and they weren't getting a chance. So Metro, what it did, it created a small business program, an SB Prime program. So you must have a Metro SBE certification to participate for the bids that are under our SB Prime. What is important about it is that those small businesses that have SBEs, Metro SBEs, can compete only against other SBEs. And this is on the Metro projects that meet the threshold criteria from $3,000 up to $5 million. And this is on federal and non-federal contracts. This project, this program has proven to be very successful for Metro. Since the inception, it has awarded over 125 million, and it's growing. It continues to grow under this program. So if you are interested in learning about our certification in the SB Prime, please be sure to visit our Metro vendor portal. And not only will you have the information, as I mentioned earlier, about accessing the contracting opportunities, but you will also have an opportunity to learn about the outreach events that we host with our agency. Again, metro.net/connect. And this will conclude my presentation.
Thank you, Olga. That was great.
Questions?
I think now we'll go into, I think, Todd, are you ready to give us an intro and overview of Kaiser? I think Todd may be having some connection problems. So maybe Eric, would you like to give a little bit of an overview of your business? You're on mute.
Good morning, everybody. All right, can you guys hear me? All right,
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Eric Castro. I'm the president of Icona Subsurface Engineering. We're an underground utilities contractor. So what we do is we install the pipeline from the street up to the building. So the water coming into the building and the water coming out of the building from the sewer, water, storm drain, and any fire lines. We also do potholing and utility locating. Right now we have the contract with the city of Anaheim to locate all the utilities. So you call it a dig 811, we actually go out there and locate the utilities for them. We also have contracts with Caltrans for potholing. Anywhere in San Bernardino, Caltrans needs a pothole for the design or whatever. We actually go out there with our crews that expose the utilities, give them the depth, give them the information, and provide a report for them. And with the underground utilities, we've done work with the state of California, LAUSD, VA Long Beach, Cal State Long Beach, Cal State Fullerton. It's all thanks to the One LA program where we're able to learn how to look for opportunities, how to see, make sure this opportunity fits, how to go create the proposal, submit the proposal, how to actually manage the contract while you're doing it, and the end step is how to collect from it. And luckily, we got into the One LA program before whole COVID started, because once COVID started, it's actually everything kind of stopped. So we had to shift focus. And I just like we say in the military, just fire, because everything on the residential side had kind of stopped, but on the public work side, on the public utilities, everything kept on going because the money was already allocated. So thanks to the One LA program, we were able to shift focus and continue with the doors open. If not, we probably would have had to shut down until this whole pandemic went through and thought everything.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. And we're going to come back to you later because we want to learn more about the program experience and details of what your experience was like. But before we jump into the Q&A, I'd like to give Todd a moment to give an overview of Kaiser. Todd, are you able to join in? Okay, it looks like Todd may still be having some connection issues. So what we're going to do is when he gets back online, we'll get the overview on Kaiser. But for now, we'll jump into some Q&A. And of course, I have a million questions I want to ask you guys so that we can get some good information out to the folks here at our event. But also, if you have questions, make sure you post them in the chat and we can ask them. So first, why don't I'll start with I guess Eric, since you're like front of my screen right here, and you were just talking a little bit about your experience with the 1LA program. I was wondering if you could provide a little bit more detail on your experience, how it helped you, you know, specifically how you worked with the 1LA program team. And was it just you, or did they work with, you know, other members of your staff as well? Kind
Actually,
of behind the scenes.
they work behind the scenes with a couple of the key staff. But the first one was, hey, how to find opportunities or where to look for opportunities. We're used to looking at one place, but they actually open our eyes and say, hey, you know what? You got this website, you got that website. Let's look over here. Let's say, okay, what exactly can you do? What are you good at? And okay, who's actually buying your services, or who needs underground utilities right now? And it might not be as a sub, it actually is maybe as a GC. Like the contract we landed with Caltrans, we were able to find that. And normally, like our scope of work, we're normally a sub, but in this case, we found this opportunity with Caltrans where KSC became the GC, the prime contractor. So we were actually the head contractor on this contract, and we were able to get awarded to it. I mean, luckily because of that, we were able to keep 5 of our employees fully busy for the last year and this year of the duration of the contract. Another thing is also the proposal writing. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes into the proposal writing. A lot of on the private sector, you just, hey, here's my number, here you go, that's it. But with the 1LA, they set us down, okay, let's go through the RFP, let's find what they're looking for, what kind of answers they're looking for, and let's create a proposal. Hey, they're asking for this, they're asking for that, they're asking, hey, can you do this? Let's draw a quick schedule, or hey, what kind of technical capabilities does your staff have? Hey, are you familiar with this type of software to turn in your reports? So we went through the RFP, and they taught us, hey, go through the RFP, create a proposal. So once you submit the proposal, the agency receiving, okay, these guys know what they're doing, get a better grade, get a better score if they're reviewing the proposals. And because it's not always the cheapest number out in the field, it's a best value. It might be, hey, this is not the cheapest organization, but they're the best at it. Or they are the cheapest, but they also know what they're doing. Luckily, because of the training with 1LA, we were able to figure all that out, implement it in our business on a daily operation, and a lot more work now.
That is great. So just to make sure I understand, so prior to the program, you were bidding on opportunities?
We were bidding opportunities, but not as successful as now.
Wonderful.
And now we know the ins and outs and what the agency is asking for and what to look for in the RFP.
Great. So I was assuming you would recommend the program.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Well, it's good. I see we have Todd on. Great. So Todd, you want to give us an overview of Kaiser and tell us more about what that NFS
is? Right. Yes, and I can hear you guys well, but it's good to be with you here this morning. And thank you to the Chamber and the wonderful work that you do. And Eric, I heard you clearly, best value and really bringing to the front your services and experience is key, and it aligns directly with the NFS area Kaiser Permanente will explain today. I serve as National Director of National Facility Services Supplier Diversity, one half of our team in total to affect supply diversity across all of Kaiser Permanente and all of our markets. Our impact spending team covers everything from services, human capital, all areas of the organization, and procurement through our buy to pay. On the NFS side of the house, we're the National Facility Services Organization. So we're responsible for all real estate, all of our development of facilities across the nation, and then also the maintenance of our facilities. Combined, our supplier diversity program in 2020 did over $2 billion with minority and diverse suppliers across the US. And it's a very intentional approach in our National Facility Services Division as we develop and maintain our facilities nationwide. A lot of the opportunities that exist within NFS are for architect and engineers, also for general contractors, and in all trades through all phases of the construction process. And then we don't just stop there with our supplier diversity targets, but we set very targeted goals for minority business, women business enterprise, small business, and veteran businesses alike for all of our projects. that are local, that drives not only diverse supplier spend, but through construction, as we know, construction is a huge activator of local procurement and local job creation. So we also look to affect the job radius within the sites in which we develop and maintain. And as we all know, as small business and diverse business owners, which you are, your resiliency and everything you had to face as through this ongoing pandemic in which we face and the economic impact that it had on our businesses, that small businesses are the strength of our economy. So there are projects like our current Watts project that we very intentionally targeted a very aggressive supplier diversity goal to reinvigorate small and diverse businesses in the local community and at large create jobs. And that intentionality is what we move forth on a daily basis. Our impact spending team focuses on services from food services to clinical, non-clinical. We also work with the GPO, which is a group purchasing organization, and it's very native amongst health systems, where they are also another entry point for diverse suppliers or any suppliers looking to get within the healthcare supply chain. So I look forward to talking more today through the Q&A session to ask and answer your specific questions. But I want you to know and leave here today knowing that Kaiser Permanente across the nation is committed to supplier diversity, to our small business community. We understand the economic impact and how socioeconomic progress and achievement in our communities plays to total health and keeping our communities safe and healthy. So I want to thank the Chamber again for hosting this forum. Kaiser Permanente is a proud supporter to be a part, and we are doing the work daily to make sure that diversity and inclusion of diverse and small businesses in our supply chain is a priority.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. And Todd, you know, while I have you up on the screen, I'd like to throw a couple questions to you. You talked about a lot of different types of opportunities and some different areas, and thanks for explaining NFS. But if you could elaborate on two areas, what's the first step for the best way for someone to get in and get involved with Kaiser contracting opportunities? And then the second question is, what certifications do you take?
Great. Both questions are great. And I'm gonna give you my direct information. I would love for anyone here today that's looking to do business with Kaiser Permanente, email me directly, Todd, todd.gray.kp.org, todd.a.gray@kp.org. And for our NFS side of the house, the first step for any prospective supplier is to go through our financial qualification process. And we engage that within my office for NFS. And it's where we approve you at different tier levels to be approved to bid on certain project sizes on the National Facility Development side of the house. After that process, it's just then a simple step of making sure we get an introduction to the market. If you're a general contractor, if you specialize in Southern California, if you specialize in Northern California, wherever your strength, territory, and market is, we want to align you with our NFS and our project and our team managers in that area. We want to start to build the relationships that are key and also introduce you to other opportunities within our program. And also talked about maintenance opportunity. After the development is finished, maintenance is ongoing. So we want to be strategic, and we are very intentional there in utilizing all types of diverse suppliers for ongoing maintenance locally and nationally. And the certifications in which we accept and we set targeted goals are from any municipalities that do a third-party certification in the area of MBE, WBE, veteran, and disabled veteran enterprise. And we also partner directly with organizations, both public and private, that certify and make available small businesses. So we want to encourage everyone to engage with us, to do business with Kaiser Permanente. We have an active program, and in supplier diversity of small businesses is our priority, and we'll continue, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Todd. That was great. And just to remind everybody, if you do have any specific questions for any of our panelists, please feel free to use the chat room and we will pick them up. I don't see any as of now, but you know, if my support team sees any, please let me know. But why don't we jump to Olga? So Olga is in the public sector. So Olga, I've always been impressed with LA Metro's program. to me, you guys are always doing very innovative things, especially being in the public sector, because it's a little bit different than different regulations versus the private sector. So I was wondering if you, when you were doing your opening, you spoke a little bit about the Small Business Prime Program. Now, I hadn't heard about that yet. It sounds really interesting. I don't know if you could tell us a little bit more about it and how someone can specifically sign up for that. And maybe, are there any current projects that are being featured in that Prime program right now that people can compete for?
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. The SB Prime program, we're very proud. Basically, to answer your question, are there any SB Prime solicitations? And yes, there are. They're listed in our vendor portal. Our vendor portal is our small business friend. That's where you're going to find all of the information about the solicitations. Basically, what the SB Prime program is, it's a set aside. It's a set aside for Metro small businesses, specifically, as I shared earlier, those who have an SBE certification. It allows for the businesses to bid only against each other and not compete with everyone. Now, if Metro doesn't receive the 3 bidders, the 3 SBE bidders, then what happens, that set aside then goes, and then it's open for everyone in the public to bid for these solicitations. Where can you find these solicitations? When you go on our vendor portal at metro.net/connect, the first item that you're going to see on our vendor portal is the current solicitations. But you just need to scroll down on that page and you will see the list right below. And again, it's those set asides anywhere from $3,000 up to $5 million. What is very interesting is that the small firm will have an opportunity, as long as they perform 30% of the job, they can turn around and hire a Prime, a Hewitt, a Walsh, for example, bring them in as their sub, and they will finish the remaining 70% of that contract. And we have many success stories of small firms who have had an opportunity to be on multiple projects under the SB Prime, and it allows for more opportunity. Earlier this week, there was a question, and for a minute, I went blank, and I think it was from my friend in the room, Eric, and I wanted to make sure that I addressed that question. And the question was, for small businesses, because it's an excellent question that you had, Eric, for small businesses, do you have to be a union firm, right, to be able to do business with Metro? Now, at Metro, union firms are welcome and are encouraged to bid on the jobs, but you don't have to be in a union. There are exceptions, and these are construction projects that are under the PLA, the Project Labor Agreement. And these are the construction projects that are 2.5 million and above. But contractors have to be the signatory for that contract, only on that contract. So I hope this information is helpful, Eric. But if you're interested in learning more, please, I encourage everyone, shoot me an email. I'm at lopezo@metro.net. Debbie, thank you so much for that question.
Thank you. So I hope everybody heard that. So the magic number is 3. We need to take advantage of this program and make sure it stays within a small business opportunity. So thank you, Olga, for that. And if I could flip it back to Todd, because Todd Kaiser is in the private sector, so different from Olga in the public sector. Todd, in the private sector, do you have any type of set aside programs, or do you do any unbundling that may make it easier for a small, local, diverse, disadvantaged, or disabled veteran business enterprise to participate. You're on mute. You're still on mute, Todd.
All right, can you hear me now? There we go. All right, so we do not have a set-aside program at Kaiser Permanente, but we do have a national corporate supply diversity program. And with that, what you mentioned about unbundling is something that I've long been an advocate for with my tenure with Kaiser and in other areas of supply diversity, because really reverse engineering, right? Taking those barriers away for entry, whether it's capacity, unbundling helps support that, whether there are requirements that may be prohibitive. And I love the fact that the intentionality of our program does unbundle opportunities so that we have opportunities for all sizes and all scales of suppliers, especially in the construction arena. With that, what I mentioned during my initial presentation is on the NFS side, the first step is to become financially qualified. And we have 3 tiers of project types and sizes and scope in which a potential supplier can qualify for. So with that, there are opportunities for small businesses, smaller diverse suppliers, medium and large alike. And we want to create the opportunities to where there's perfect alignment so that we can maximize. And also what we look for is growth of our partners as well. And we have many success stories that has been just that, where a supplier, if they were on a smaller scale, they have grown along with the opportunities. They have increased on the natural facility size of the house. Again, all construction is local. So whether it's a tens of $1 million project or if it's a small maintenance projects, there are opportunities in the entire ecosystem that we target very intentionally for diverse supplier inclusion. So great question.
Thank you. Todd, if I can ask you a little follow-up, I know you've mentioned the financially qualified, that's what a supplier has to go through in the very beginning. Can you tell us a little bit more about that process or what you're looking for so that the businesses have an idea of what they need to bring to the table?
Yes, well, what I'll be glad to do as a follow-up to this session is provide that very specific detail and bring in my colleague who manages that vendor management process for us and can give the direct information that's necessary. So what I would do for all of those in attendance, I will not only make a contact, but I will give it to the person who leads that part of our process and vendor management so that you can get the specific details that caters to your business. But I'll give an overview of that process. What we look to identify there is that it's a mutually beneficial opportunity, because one thing we want to assure is that it's a true partnership that allows us to grow our diverse suppliers and are successful, and a successful outcome that whether it's you doing business with Kaiser Permanente or elsewhere, that this is a bridge to better economic opportunity. So as I stated, there are truly opportunities across the spectrum, but given the multitude of details for the different levels of qualification, I will best defer that, but I guarantee you the information so that any firms here today that want to engage that process, the information will be clear and will be intentional with doing business.
Okay, thank you. It looks like we have some questions here in the chat, so I'll just read them and we'll see who, I'm not sure who it will go to, but let's see. I'll just read it exactly how it's written. Word on the street is that the president has brokered a deal with the lawmaker on infrastructure. What should small businesses be doing now to prepare for the infrastructure opportunities to come? That may be more of an Olga question. You're on mute, Olga.
I finished my response now. Sorry about that. Stay ready, be ready. Join our events. We host a various type of outreach events with our agency. If you're not sure about how to stay and be ready, we will definitely give you some ideas, advice about joining our outreach events. We host on an annual, throughout the year, and even through the pandemic, we did not skip a beat. We continued with our outreach events. We went all virtual, and we host every second Tuesday of the month a How to Do Business with Metro workshop. What is important about this event, we're going to give you all of the information that will be required on how to do business with Metro. We bring our experts, and we always invite one of the prime contractors who's either on a Metro project or who will share about how to connect with that particular prime and how to do business with them directly. So it's important to stay connected and network. This SB Prime opportunity that we have here at Metro is definitely an excellent networking opportunity to perhaps partner with other firms and come in as that prime with this SB Prime program that we have available at Metro. At Metro, for the next 30 years, we're going to have an unimaginable range of products and services, and we have a great need. We're looking for architects, builders, contractors, printers, graphic designers. We buy just about everything. We need everything here at Metro. So please come on, learn about what we have available. We encourage you, we invite you to get on that bus or on that Metro and learn about the services that we have available.
I love that.
And I would like to tag on to that, not directly with Kaiser Permanente, but Olga said it best, but I just want to encourage the small businesses viewing today is peel back the onion on that plan as well, right? You may not provide a direct service, but also look at the indirect services. There are a lot of things that you can engage in if you're a print or a marketing supplier. So don't count yourself out what's coming if you're not a direct supplier, but also build on what Olga said, look for strategic partnerships. And one thing that diverse suppliers have the skills to do and have been economy tested to do is to reinvent themselves. So don't be scared to engage new opportunities and really go out there and partner and see the opportunities that may exist for you. That's all I would add to that question, but go for it.
Great. Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the next question we have here in the chat. And so this is probably a question for all of you. And so I'll read it first and then we can decide who's going to answer first. But the question is, I'd love to hear the thoughts from the panel members on recommendations on building effective teaming relationships. As an owner of a minority firm, sometimes I feel like it's an awkward dating experience when I get emails out of the blue asking about interest and credentials. So from all of your perspectives, what are some of the best practices on building effective team relationships? Todd, would you mind going first?
All right. So I'll tackle this from a different perspective. I've always shared, in supplier diversity, we look at first tier spend and we look at tier 2 spend, where you're a supplier to one of our prime suppliers. But I always said second tier is not second class, and it's the same way I feel about joint ventures. And I know it can be a challenging process, and it is. You have to really find the alignment. You even can look at opportunities to where, you're still in your core business operations, but a teaming with another potential diverse supplier, when you look at the ecosystem amongst the small business community, is a strong economy in itself. So maybe there's a new innovation that you can partner on. It's definitely something you want to make sure you do all of the legal preparation for, but I would not shy away from it. I think there are a lot of key opportunities, and it can allow you to adapt, and it can allow you to get in the doors, especially when you look at the real estate and construction space and JV opportunities on the GC level or partnering on projects that may have a bigger package, but it may be an opportunity to debundle and partner with a firm to get a part of a key project that will spring you forward to your next economic opportunity. So I say be optimistic, check all the boxes, and peel back the onion. Definitely do not count yourself out of future opportunities, and be intentional to look around the room amongst your other diverse suppliers and small businesses and see what services you can offer each other as well. Those are all key opportunities for partnership.
Olga, would you mind hitting it next?
I echo on the recommendation that Todd just said. I mean, definitely do not be be shy on networking and connecting and looking for those opportunities. You just, it's a great opportunity for that connection.
So, and
So-
I don't mean to put you both on the spot, but I think, you know, you shared your information in the chat. So is it safe to say that if any of the business owners on the phone today, like have specific questions or need advice on building relationships, could they reach out to either one of you?
Absolutely, yes.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, so you have the approval and you have their email, so please leverage it. So Eric, just to close the loop on the question, do you have any best practices from your experience, you know, as being an owner of how to team?
Actually, it is like Todd mentioned, it is like a dating game. You got to find the right fit. I mean, we have at least 10 suppliers that supply pipe, but each one of them are different. One of them could be the cheapest, but they don't have the pipe in stock. The other one could be a little bit a percent higher, but the customer service is great. So once in a while, we'll go with the higher price because we know that team member will deliver on time. We'll be there when we need them. Same thing with our subs. Once in a while, we're like, hey, you know what? We have a couple of subs. This sub can't do this. This sub can't do that. Sometimes we'll send the team to the sub and say, hey, you know what? Can you help them with the paperwork? Can you help them with this? Trying to bring our subs up to par to make the team stronger. Because if we look good, if they look good, we look good, and the whole project comes in good. So we try to find the right fit, the right vendors, the right subs, the right everything that make the team better. And so it is kind of like a dating game, trying to find the best team out there to make everything run smoothly.
Yeah, and we all know how hard dating is, so you've got to be very selective and, you know, have your criteria together. It looks like we have a couple more questions in the chat that I'll read. One is, good morning, everyone. I would like to know if these programs are only focused on American small businesses, or can a foreign company apply as well? Are there any, in your programs, are there any exclusions if it's not based in the US? Can they, you know, be a part of these, you know, small, diverse programs, or just have to compete as a foreign company? And this is probably for Todd and Olga.
In the years that I've worked at Metro, most of the firms are within US. I can tell you that, for example, when there's been purchases for some of the trains, yes, they've come from out of the country, but most of our businesses are within US.
Okay. Todd, you may be a little bit more international, possibly. You're on mute again.
The mute button has become very famous during this last year and a half. So I echo what Olga said as well, but you know, supply chains are very robust. And even the National Minority Supply Development Council, right? They have expanded their reach internationally. So there are national suppliers, there are international suppliers. From a supply diversity standpoint, we look for that 51% ownership, very targeted within the different entities, whether you're minority owned, women owned, or veteran owned, or disabled veteran owned. That is the criteria, and third party certified. So from a certification process, we follow that national best practice as most corporations, public and private. But you know, there's no limitation to suppliers. It depends on the area being sourced. It really depends on the requirements of that particular procurement. And all my years in supply diversity has been just that, more procurement specific. So I would just say you want to ask those questions based upon the area of business in which you operate, and really find out what those guidelines are with any organization you seek to engage, and that'll be the same at Kaiser Permanente.
Okay, great. It looks like we have another question in the chat, and it looks like it's probably more for Olga and Todd again. Do you all foresee any changes to the procurement process, whether it be in the submission process, addition of new set-aside programs, or new platforms that may be used? Any upcoming changes to the process that maybe you can share with the folks here?
Yes, well, since the pandemic, there have been some changes that Metro has implemented. For example, in the way that the small businesses submits their IFBs and RFPs, it's all now done online. All the proposals, they're submitted online. But in terms of any procurement per se requirements, not that we are aware of. This hasn't changed. The requirement remains the same. The only, as I mentioned, the only difference is of the way of submitting. And again, I encourage the small business community to visit our vendor portal and learn more about the particulars.
Todd, would you like to add anything?
Sure, and let me check. Okay, we're clear. All right, so in the area of changes in the procurement process, one of the things we did intentionally last year during the beginning of the pandemic and understanding the effect it had on our diverse and small businesses, as we did, as I mentioned at the top of the presentation today, take a look inside. Not that there were any, but just to double check to make sure there were not any barriers for expedited opportunity, and from an assurance perspective, from a requirement perspective, and make sure they were really achievable and accessible. And after we did that, we went intentionally with the market to target small businesses and diverse suppliers for our maintenance opportunities, specifically in Northern and Southern California. So we've made some adaptations to really be intentional about areas of spend and what we can target locally, and be intentional and speed up that process and make sure we're targeting small businesses. But for the program in general, there aren't any overarching changes, but we'll continue to look, how we can really be a bridge and a pillar and to activate the community intentionally, especially in times in which we face. And we're thankful for the projects in which we implemented. We're thankful for the response of the small business community. And we're thankful for our partners, because we were able to create jobs in the midst of the pandemic. We were able to provide individuals a path to better health through social economic mobility. All of the great things that comes from the hard work that you all do as small business owners, what you generate is opportunity. And we're thankful that we're able to meet and we can continue to create opportunities despite the challenges that we all face, and we understand.
Thank you, Todd. That's really important. And looks like we have another question in the chat, and this one is for Eric. And I'm just letting everyone know too, we're the Q&A is going to be wrapping up in about 10 minutes or so. So if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the chat. So this next one goes to you, Eric. So would love to hear from Eric as far as what changes he's implemented to his business to optimize his efforts to pursue and execute on contracts.
As far as the changes, now we can hone in on what areas where we can be successful, and instead of trying to shoot a target this big, now we can shoot at a target this big and focus our resources where we're going to be more successful. To be honest with you, we stopped bidding work about 2-3 months ago because we have so much backlog, so much work.
Wow.
We're not looking for additional work right now. We're busy. So as the pandemic hit, we had to adjust fire and all that. So we had to adjust to the new safety guidelines, OSHA guidelines and all that, the additional PPE that was required. Normally, back in the day, it was a hard time getting somebody to wear a hard hat. Now you have to get them to wear a face mask or some kind of face cover. So we had to adjust that. And we work with our suppliers. Hey, can you give me a face mask? But not just a face mask. You know what? Let's take this opportunity and market our company. So a face mask with our company logo. So as we made these changes, we adapted other things to make it work and make the employees safer.
Thank you, Eric. So the big takeaway I hear there is having targeted strategies really helps you hone in on the areas where you're going to be most successful. Because we all know too, when you're bidding, that takes effort and labor as well. So if you're going to put forth that effort, you want to make sure you have a good chance of winning and getting in the process. So that's good. And I love to hear that you're so busy that you're not bidding. That's a good problem to have. And I'm hoping others will have that soon. So I'll throw this next question back to Todd and Olga. Just if you could share a little bit about, and I know it's probably different for each type of procurement opportunity, but kind of in general, your insurance requirements? Do you have any experience requirements that you ask of your bidders? And do you have any programs that offer special payment terms to small, diverse, disadvantaged, disabled veteran, local businesses? It's a mouthful. So Todd, you want to go first?
Sure. Insurance requirements definitely vary depending on the procurement and the area. In the construction space, that is based on the tier level, and one of the financial requirements that's reviewed in the information I will share post-meeting, so we'll make sure we get that out. Also around payment terms, that's one of the areas we looked at very intentionally during the pandemic when we targeted our maintenance opportunities in California to create economic opportunity for small businesses. So making that commitment to make sure payment terms are beneficial, as that is the critical lifeline, and we understand the importance of that. So we've made adjustments where necessary. And then also making sure that when you change the payment terms, that the payments happen within those terms. So really making sure on both ends, and we do that daily on our construction projects. We hold our general contractors accountable that are diverse and non-diverse. When they're bringing in subcontractors, we hold them accountable for their timely payments within the supply chain and achievement of their diversity goals that we set forth on a project. I like to say all the time, we don't just participate in the pep rally when we set our intentions, but the Super Bowl is when our communities win and our diverse businesses win. And we assure that daily, and we make sure it's equitable. And as all the leaders in supply diversity at Kaiser Permanente, to remove any potential barriers is our everyday job and create opportunities. So yes, we do review. We make sure payment terms are competitive, and we make sure that the requirements are well understood and exactly what they need to be. And that we not only focus on the requirements, but we focus on experience. And in new areas and new innovation, you always have to create a room for new innovation. So we have exploratory meetings. If you have a new creation, a new innovation, a new way to repurpose your service, there's always a listening ear to talk about innovation.
Now I'm on mute. Excellent. Olga, would you like to share? Because I know you guys have a special kind of insurance program as well for businesses.
Yes, we do. And what is unique about Metro, as I mentioned earlier, now that the RFPs and the IFBs are being sent electronically, when you are bidding on a particular solicitation, it's always important to see and note the contact information for the contract administrator assigned for that particular RFP rather. Any communication, it's always through the contract administrator. What is neat is when you go in the vendor portal and you look at the solicitation that you are interested in bidding, you will have this information in addition to the other details about the RFP, when it's due, and the value and the statement of work, right? And so it now, in this new way of doing business with us, in this online submission, it is recommended that you submit, and any communication regarding that solicitation is directly with the contract administrator. And of course, the buyer for that particular project, you will have this information made available. The ethics, risk management, and the pre-qualification officer, which is also another process that the folk will need to go through, the small business rather would need to go through. We encourage you to stay connected with that in that process.
Excellent. You know, I know we're probably getting close to the end, but Todd, I'm glad you brought up about having exploratory meetings. And I want to ask you, and this is probably a question again for Olga and you, but I want to ask you, like, if someone has like an unsolicited proposal, or, you know, they want to have this exploratory meeting, you know, how can they get in touch with Kaiser to do that? And then I also have a little bit of knowledge on the Metro side. I believe you guys actually have a website where people can submit unsolicited proposals, correct? So maybe if both of you could discuss that a little bit, maybe Olga, I'll let you go first, because I know you guys have a website that allows for that, and just explain to us what that's about.
Yes. there's been some proposals that have been submitted under this process, the unsolicited proposals, and it goes directly to the office. This is a new department that has been created. It's the Office of Extraordinary Innovation. So when you go on the main Metro webpage, it's metro.net / and then the acronym OIE, Office of Innovative in Extraordinary Innovation. And you submit your proposal, your idea. It may be, you may have a product or an idea that maybe Metro hasn't thought of. You submit it online, it goes directly to the Office of OEI, and they will determine if it's something that Metro should pursue. They will find the funding to make this available and this opportunity made available. And I want to make sure that I give you the exact website, because this is a very good resource for many of our small businesses who
It looks like Andrea has put the link in the chat for everyone. of
Oh,
how to
she-
get to.
oh,
Yeah,
fab-
he's quick.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, we do have a process, and they are a great team that is leading the effort. So there's partnerships and unsolicited proposals go through this office, and they will manage such ideas, innovative ideas for Metro to look into.
Thank you. I think we have like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, Todd.
Sure.
Quickly.
And I just want to commend that. That is true innovation to create opportunity, because so often you cannot fit your innovation inside of a very static proposal or RFP. And for Kaiser Permanente, I just want to extend again my email address, and I will also in our follow-up share others on our team in supplier diversity on both impact spending and NFS supplier diversity, to where you can contact us directly. One of the greatest things I loved when we were able to safely come together, we had been at the conferences and events and meet with the suppliers and really engage in innovative conversation. So I'm going to provide again my email address. You can email me directly. It would not be an official solicitation, but it'll be an exploratory meeting for us to talk about your unique innovation that can lead to so many potential roles. And throughout my career, it always has. And again, my email is todd, T-O-D-D, .a.gray, G-R-A-Y, @kp.org. So if you want to submit that to me, I will guarantee to spread that to my colleagues in the respective area that your business operates, and to make sure your voice is heard.
Thank you, Todd. And I will turn it over to Jesse right on time.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much, everyone. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this session, but I want just thank all of you for joining us. Send a big shout out to Debbie, to Olga, to Todd, to Eric for the great discussion. We're going to be taking another short break, and then we encourage you to come back at noon for the closing celebration featuring DJ Raul Campos from KCRW for some fun giveaways and partner recognition. If you're interested in checking out or accessing the sessions, please take a look at the agenda webpage, and you can click on the sessions and it'll direct you to the live platform. And with that, I'm going to say thank you to all of you again. Have a great rest of the day.